Hello and welcome back to the answers of the 5-minute 40k quiz run by Auspex Tactics. Hello and welcome back to Auspex Tactics, where we're going to go through the answers of the second 5-minute 40k quiz that you've hopefully already done the questions of, otherwise there's probably not much point in watching this video first. So let's see how many answers you managed to get. Okay, question 1 was naming this Space Marine character, who I can reveal is Captain Tycho of the Blood Angels. Erasmus Tycho is armed with the fearsome combi melter known as Bloodsong, which is exceptionally well balanced and is imbued with the machine spirit of unparalleled nobility. Unfortunately, he did succumb to the Death Company and die, but that doesn't stop you from playing him in games of 40k at the moment at least. For question 2, I asked you how many lascannons it would take for Space Marines to bring down this cheeky Gretchen hero Macari. Unfortunately for the Space Marines taking aim at him, Macari is the luckiest Gretchen alive, and somewhat questionably, as per the rules, does have a 2+ invulnerable save, making him far harder to put down than virtually any character in the game. He has 4 wounds and a 6+ feel no pain type save, which only adds insult to injury, and that means that on average it will take no less than 15 lascannon shots to bring him down on average rolling. It's a sad day for the Space Marine Devastator Corps indeed. For question 3, I asked you what was special about the heart of Primarch Mortarion of the Death Guard, and the answer is that he has the words Caldor Drago carved into it. This was done by Caldor Drago of the Grey Knights, and I believe it was written into his backstory to make him seem more cool. It's certainly not everyone's favourite piece of fluff, but it's certainly a funny concept. I'm sure in the heat of battle, he has nothing better to do than be carving his own name on a Primarch's heart, compared with actually trying to finish him off or something. Next we were looking at some French Orcs and what this mech would be making if he made a crabouille tour. Crabouille means to smash in French, so of course it was a stomper that he was making. It's interesting the way that sometimes they translate things from one language to another. In question 5 we asked the identity of the laughing god of the Harlequins, and he is none other than Chegarak, which I really hope that I'm pronouncing right. You get 1 point if you said something that roughly sounds like it, and you get another if you manage to spell it. That's Cegorach. His talents involve acting and hiding in the webway to evade Slanesh. Question 6 is what is the only Imperial Guard unit whose rules have been moved to Warhammer Legends. It is of course the Rough Riders, and those of us who spent a long time converting up 30 horses with Cadian bodies are very annoyed about this fact. Never mind the AdMech with those new fancy mechanical steeds, the Guard need their cavalry back, Games Workshop. Question 7 sees us dive into Imperial history. It was none other than Gouge Van Dyer who usurped the highest positions in the Imperium to bring about a reign of terror that was only brought to a head when the head of the Brides of the Emperor, who would later become the Sisters of Battle, were shown that Van Dyer was no servant of the Emperor and merely out for his own selfish reasons. Van Dyer initially gained power to try and stop the ecclesiarchy wasting Imperial resources on enormous cathedral construction projects, but quickly turned into a tyrant, crushing all who opposed him beneath his heel, and oppressing and brutalizing the Imperial citizenship on a whole new level. In the aftermath of his death, the High Lords of Terror decreed that the ecclesiarchy could never again command men bearing arms, which in itself had a bit of a loophole, as it meant that they were freely allowed to recruit women into their order, which is why the Adeptus Sororitas or Sisters of Battle are entirely female and are now the main fighting force of the ecclesiarchy. So 1 point if you named Gouge Van Dyer, and you get a bonus point if you knew the ecclesiarchy was forbidden in the past from commanding men bearing arms. For the next question, I asked you how many hits would Ragnar Blackmain achieve on an enemy if he managed to charge in, use Honour the Chapter to fight again, use Touch of the Wild to get more attacks than a 4+, and was also in the Space Wolves doctrine. Sure, it costs 4 command points, but the results are pretty crazy. Ragnar Blackmain on the charge gets a whopping 10 attacks, more than virtually any other character in 40k. He hits on 2s re-rolling 1s, meaning that the vast majority of them hit, and for every 4 and 5 he gets an additional hit on the opponent, and for every 6 he gets 2 additional hits due to Touch of the Wild plus the Chapter Doctrine. This winds up averaging out on a whopping 17.5 hits, which if he then uses Honour the Chapter to fight again, it turns into 35 hits from one character from one assault phase with really quite a decent weapon. When fully tooled up like this, there's very little that he's not going to go through in one assault phase. Seeing as this was quite a specific number, I'll be a bit lenient as to exactly what number of attacks you put. If you put anywhere between 33 and 37 attacks, I'll give you 2 points, and if you put anywhere between 25 attacks and 45 attacks, then you get just 1 point. By the end of this one assault phase massacre, I'm sure Ragnar's little arms will be hurting. Question 9 are which armies were played by the winners of the Las Vegas Open in 2018, 2019 and 2020. I can tell you that in 2018 it was won by Yanari, I believe played by Nick Nanavati. In 2019 it was Astra Militarum with Brandon Grant, although a sizable chunk of the army was taken up by a Castellan Knight, so you can have the point if you either said Astra Militarum, Imperial Guard or Imperial Knights. Finally, in 2020, this year's Las Vegas Open was won by Richard Siegler's Iron Hands, so you can have the point if you either said Iron Hands or Space Marines, so 3 points up for grabs in this one. Finally, I asked you if you could name these 3 Citadel paints whose names I chose to replace with the face of Snipe Marbo. The black shade was of course Abaddon Black, the green was Caliban Green, named after the Dark Angel's homeworld, and the white was Corax White, after the Raven Guard Primarch Corvus Corax. So you get 1 point for each one that you guessed right, meaning that you should be able to work out your final score now. So if you count up all bonus points, then the quiz is out of an absolute maximum of 18, though if anyone did manage to get all 18, I'll be very impressed indeed. If you want to show off your score, then please post it down in the comments below, and of course tell me if I have made any errors with the answers, and if I have then I'll post a correction below. Feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics if you'd like to see more like this. I'd certainly not be against doing more quizzes in the future. If you've been enjoying the content and would like to support the channel, I do have a Patreon page, and this is what keeps the channel going and keeps the videos coming. If you are watching regularly, then any contribution is certainly appreciated. There's a few bonuses for Patreon supporters, including seeing early videos, voting on what comes next for the channel, and also the occasional prize draw. So if any of that interests you, or you'd just like to say thank you for the videos, then the link is down in the description below. In any case, a big thank you for watching, hope you've had fun, and I'll see you guys next time.